Hey guys, it's Adia and welcome back to another art video. So right now I am working on the skeleton painting. If you've seen it in a previous video, I did like a little tutorial on how to do underpainting. So basically the underpaint is all done in acrylic, but I did want to paint the background. I was a little unsure of what color I actually wanted to do it. Not me. See, this is what I'm talking about, like taking it away from the frame. But basically in this video, well, in this section where you can't really see, I'm just painting the sides because I always leave that for last and then I end up not painting it. So I'm gonna do that now. And I wasn't too sure on what color I want the background, so I was testing out something. So I decided to use like pink, well, magenta. I think it was I can't remember the purple I used. But I mixed those two and a little bit of white, and that's how I created my background. I actually really liked it, so I just kept it. Because at first I was thinking about doing some type of like nature background or something like that. But I was like, actually let's do something pink and vibrant. And also I wanted to add some pearls, and I felt like if I made I guess landscape background, it would be, I don't know, if I put pearls on it, I feel like it would be clashing too much. To be nowhere for the eye to rest, even though right now I don't really know if my background is I don't know, for the eye to rest. I think it is. I think it's very simple, cutesy, but I guess it depends on other people's feedback. And by this, I don't mean that I can't take constructive criticism. But if someone is simply stating their opinion, which a lot of the internet does, and it's nothing that's critical, then honestly, I don't really care. I do like that people can find their own meaning from my art, not me filming it on TikTok. I didn't really ended up in the video. Well, I guess you guys are seeing how I film both. I film it on TikTok and film it at the same time. This painting did end up being an oil and acrylic painting, and I realized I have like my oil laid out, but I do just want to remind y'all the background is in acrylic. And then I went over the skeleton in oil, so don't get like too confused because you see oil paint in the background, but I am using acrylic. You may be asking, how in the world are you using acrylic and oil together? Okay, first thing, do not mix the two. Oh my gosh, just don't take acrylic paint and don't take oil paint and mix the two. Now, if you've never oil painted, the first thing I learned is that oil painting has rules. Acrylic paint doesn't necessarily have rules because we don't have to do the fat over lean. Oil paint is considered just lean because it's water-based. And since, certain pigments in oil, and also since oil takes a long time to dry, you can't just put one layer of oil paint, come back the next day and put another layer of oil paint without adding some type of linseed oil or some type of oil to it. That's how you start breaking the rules of fat over lean. So that's how I am able to paint with acrylic and oil. So basically I start with acrylic. You cannot start with oil and put acrylic on top. Your painting will indeed crack. It will crack. But you can start off with an acrylic base since it is considered lean, and then put oil paint on top of it. And that's like kind of what I'm doing here. And for my acrylic, how I'm getting some of these colors, some of it is like a mixture of magenta and yellow. One thing I did learn in, I guess, art school is that to brighten up a color, you can use other colors besides white. So that's what I'm basically doing here. I wanted the pink to be a little bit more vibrant, but I didn't want it to be washed out. So I did add some yellow. And obviously I did like some more of the background off camera. I basically just added some like little dots, some little circles. I did go ahead and let the paint dry off camera just because you don't want to work on wet acrylic paint and then do oil paint over it. Yeah, that's a thing. Please let your painting dry if you're using an acrylic underlayer. Let the acrylic underlayer completely dry. I just let it dry for maybe 45 minutes or so. So since I'm in my winter arc, I really want to experiment. But more than that, I also want to create cohesive art. Like, I make a ton of art, but a lot of my art, to me, isn't very cohesive. And I have a ton of religious-based art, which is why I added the little cross and skull to kind of make it on brand a little bit, if y'all get what I'm tossing out. Although I do think that if I were to pitch this to a gallery, I don't know if it would like, the color scheme is kind of, I don't know, maybe. Anyway, right now I am working on the oil paint upsize. I'm really just gonna put it on the skeleton. I'm not gonna put it on the background. At first I was gonna put it on the background, but I really liked how the acrylic background looks, so I'm really not gonna touch the background oil. Not me shaking the camera. Embarrassing. Oh yeah, I'm filming again for TikTok, of course. And then just to keep in mind, this video is like a watch me paint, chit chat. But don't worry, I will be having tutorials out very soon. Just bear with me. I just haven't figured out what type of tutorial I want to do and how I'm going to explain it. Sometimes I'm not the best at explaining things. I just do it and hope that you get it. But I don't want to be one of those people who do tutorials and the tutorial isn't translating. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Those people who do tutorials and it's just like, I did everything you said and it's like not working out. But then also it could just be like a skill difference. If anything, I would probably do it a couple of times instead of just crashing out on the first time. Like that's why I kind of stopped at least watching tutorial videos, because I feel like all of them were the same. They'd be like, okay, easy 5-step how to become the best drawer in 2 days. But really, they're lying. Like, you're not gonna become the best drawer in 2 days. Another thing I should add when you are painting with oil and acrylic, keep the brushes separate. Please keep the brushes separate. One thing I usually struggle with is kind of getting the oil paint completely clean from out of my brush, especially if I don't have, there's like a oil paint like soap for your brushes, and sometimes I forget it at the studio, so I have to use Dove. And sometimes I don't get all the paint out, and if you have like oil in it and then you use acrylic and then you didn't get all the acrylic out, that's just like disastrous. So I recommend, if you're gonna do acrylic and oil, to keep your brushes separate. I have acrylic brushes and I have oil brushes. Oh my gosh, you see me going in with the pink? It's because I forgot that it was supposed to be, you know, you're supposed to see through it. But yeah, look at it coming together. This is why I added the oil paint, because I knew that it would just come together once I did that. And I kind of wish that I did it on a bigger canvas, just because I really like how this looks. And imagine if it was huge. If it was huge, like, it's going on my wall immediately. And I remember my professor saying something along the lines of this. He's like, there's nothing worse than making good art on something that's crappy, quote unquote crappy. This canvas isn't necessarily crappy, but like he was basically suggesting like when you do it on like terrible paper that has smudges, you just do like a little doodle. And he basically was saying that if you want people to take your art seriously, then you're gonna have to take it seriously. Which is why I bought all these like little cutesy canvases, because I didn't just want to like make art and throw it away. Well, sometimes I do if I end up not liking it. But this is cute, and now I kind of want to make a bigger version of it. If anything, these small canvases are just testers on turning a little idea into a big idea. See, y'all get what I'm saying. I don't know if it's just me, but I believe that your subject is just as important as your background. And people have told me this, that I'm like extremely good at making backgrounds. It's because I just don't really like plain background, like just a solid color. Like I feel like for some paintings it works, but for mine, I want it to be interesting. Like I want every time you look, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that. Although I do need to work on pulling back just a little bit. And also I'm working on not making so many mid-tones. That's something I struggled in my foundation drawing 1 and in my painting class, especially when I was painting my self-portrait. Actually, I might make that into a video because I didn't end up finishing it. But basically, I would have too many midtones in the face or whatever I'm creating because I just wanted such smooth blends. So I would create too many midtones and I needed like contrast, which is why I'm going in with the skeleton with super white whites. And I mean, for the dark parts, it's not necessarily black. I mean, it kind of is, but I made it myself. So I guess darks or quote unquote black. Basically, I make my own black. So I quite literally just turned my head to the side as if the painting was still there because I wanted to see it in person, but I forgot I took it out of my room because I don't want to sleep with oil paint just out and about, because I've done that a couple times, and then yeah, like I'm gonna regret it if I do that. So I just took it out as soon as it was done. Well, not as soon as it was done, because I like to admire it for a little bit, but then I took it out. So if you guys are oil painting in your room, please take it out of your room so you're not sleeping with like oil paint fumes. Although I'm not using paint thinner, I just feel like I shouldn't be inhaling it, period, at all. So I just saved myself the trouble and took it out of my room. But pretty much this skeleton is about done. And soon I'm going to start putting the pearls on. And I hate to say it, the pearls were really, really hard to put on because I didn't have like any type of tweezers to hold them. So I just kind of had to either put the glue literally on the pearl or on the canvas. But it ended up all working itself out. It was really the really small ones that I had a hard time like holding and trying to place on the canvas and not trying to smear the glue all over the place. Because once you put like glue on the canvas and you're holding the pearl, you kind of got like one time. You got one time to get it right. So that's why it was making me a little uneasy when I was doing it. But it ended up turning out just fine. I really wanted to like sew some beads on it, and I did it on a tester canvas. There's so many holes like all over the canvas just because sewing beads on a canvas is a lot harder than I originally thought it was going to be. I watched a couple tutorials on it and I think I'm still doing it wrong. Like I'm still trying to figure it out. So my way of replacing beads, I put pearls, but the pearls are they're just as cute. Like look at it, it's like popping out. I love it so much. If you guys have made it this far, this is the end of the video. Thank y'all for watching and tuning in to a little paint with me. Here's a little close-up of my painting, and stay tuned for the next video. Peace.